I can feel it. That's all. That's all we can do. That was for you, Ricky Elvis. You like my little my things at the start. I made it very easy for you that time. A lot of people say I sound like Phil Collins when I sing, which I think is a compliment. I was a big Genesis fan back in the day, and yeah, I like me some old '80s rock because that's what I kind of grew up with. But hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to GarageBand Weekly for another week. This is our show all about GarageBand. But you know what? We talk about a few other things as well because everything is related to creating, recording, and releasing your best music. And that's what I'm here for. My name is Pete. If it's your first time here, if you've stumbled across this stream and you're thinking, who's this dude? Well, my name is Pete Johns. This is Studio Live today. And as I mentioned, my goal here is to help you create, record, and release your best music. We do that through tips and tricks and tutorial videos and live stream videos just like this one. If that's your bag, consider subscribing. And welcome to the regular folks who are here very often. I love you folks very much. And if you're new here, say hello, say g'day. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and what you're into and how I can help because that's what we're doing here. We are continuing to do this, and it is. I mentioned it on yesterday's shows, but it's interesting to see the plethora of folks who are now live streaming. It's like live, like those of us that have been doing it for a while, and I haven't even been doing it that long. And now you look around and you're like, wow, everybody's doing it because people have no choice. So this is the new norm. No, don't you hate that? Don't worry, I'm going to say it's unprecedented soon. But the new norm is that people are streaming from their homes. So suddenly everyone's getting webcams, everyone's worrying about audio setup. I have a video, my most popular video of the last week is one where I show people how to flip the camera on their iPhone on Facebook Live because so many people are going live on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and all the places that, yeah, folks are looking for help with their live streaming, which is fine. Maybe I need to change this to studio live stream today for the next few weeks just to help people live stream. Hello to the folks who are here live. I'm going to scroll back up so we can see who's here. We have Jade Star, who's usually the first person in the queue. She's usually on the virtual couch waiting for the show to start because she does an amazing job helping moderate this and the other shows that we have here. Medallion representing from Montreal. Benedict Stewart from over in Scotland. Alex Bacchus joining us from Germany. So I'm getting very good at remembering where people are from. Not all the time and not everyone, but I'm trying my best. Surfing Cat. Have I seen you around before? I'm not sure. Hello, morning. Yes, it is morning here. It is 6:34 a.m. for me. It's 9:01 p.m. for you wherever you are. So that gives me a bit of an indication that you're probably in the US or Canada, where that would be the time zone for you. Actually, no, you'd be in the UK or Europe because it's the afternoon in the US. Hello, anyway. Yes, because Italian, it's 4 p.m. for you. Washburn, hello to you. I hope you are doing well. Yes, live in England. There you go. So that solves the mystery of the surfing cat. Sounds like a dodgy Hardy Boys book or a Babysitter's Club. The mystery of the surfing cat. Who will solve it? SM Borthwick, hello. Hope everyone's going well. I'm going well. Yeah. John Imperiale from New York. Hope everything's okay in New York. I know that there's some significant lockdowns and things going on. Every time I come on, I'm like, I'm just going to get in with the music stuff, but I still want to wish everyone safety and happiness and all the other things. Darren Bryant is here. I hope you are doing well as well. And yes, lockdown in NY. Yeah, so we're at, I don't know. There's all these different stages and things. We're down to 2 people in public. So it went from what does it go from like 100 to 50 to 10 to 2. So at this point in time, you can go out and you can virtually high five one person from 1.5 meters away, and then you have to go home. That's it. But we're lucky enough that we still do have like cafe doing takeaway food. We still have the chemists and the supermarkets open. All the retailers are doing a good job of actually staying open and doing their thing at the moment, which is a good thing. And luckily, in Australia we have a little bit more space and we're not quite as crammed. I know there's a lot of cities around the world where you're in an apartment building, you know, there's people literally there, and there. Like, yes, I appreciate it. And I appreciate that It's not exactly the same everywhere as well. But hello. We will get into the music in a moment. Ronnie Creamer, hello to you. Thank you for continuing to rock in the free world. All I know how to do. So, yeah, that's what we'll be doing. It is 1 p.m. in California. That's right, Sunday afternoon in California. Hello to you. And Greg Mel, dialing in from England. I hope you are doing well as well. Let's get me notes up. Me notes. Let's get up me notes, and then we'll get on with the show. Sorry, I've been watching The Young Ones the last couple of days, and I was just watching a documentary about British comedy and how The Young Ones kind of changed everything just before this show. So I'm probably going to start talking like Ade Edmondson or Rick Mail or something. My Rick Mail impression. I'm not very good at it. Righty, we got the notes. Yells. No, that's the wrong notes. We are not doing that show. This one is called GarageBand Weekly. So I'm going to grab my GarageBand Weekly notes because that makes more sense because that's the show we're doing. Righty dokey. Let's test out if we can have some audio for a bit of an opening here. Yep, that's going to be fine and dandy. Oh, that's gone back to my... It went back to the documentary. You almost heard a little bit of the documentary I was watching. Anyway, let us get stuck in here and we're going to talk GarageBand. If you do have a question, please put question in front as Jade has indicated here. Just put a big question in caps at the start. It means I can grab it because I know that there's a lot of chat that goes on between folks in the chat, which is cool, but I can't catch every bit of it. And if there's a specific question that you have, make sure that the question is in there and then I'll be able to grab it and talk about it. All right, let's kick off. Let's kick into gear and get on with the show. Yes, welcome to GarageBand Weekly for yet another week. Your weekly live dose of all things GarageBand right here on Studio Live today. But if it's your first time here, you're thinking, who is this? What is this? What's going on? Help! What this is GarageBand Weekly. My name is Pete. This is Studio Live today, where we have tips and tricks and hacks and tutorial videos and live streams just like this one, all about home and mobile recording. And when we're talking home and mobile recording, GarageBand is one of the platforms that people start with, they continue with, and they even continue to create albums with. If you're like me, you get into a nice workflow and then you never leave. So we're going to talk all about GarageBand. Thank you to the folks who are here live. If you get some value out of this show today, hit the like button. If you're here on the replay, do the same. And if you've got any comments, please drop them in the live chat here on YouTube or Facebook, or jump down into the comments after the show if you're watching on the replay. What have we got coming up on the show? We got some news and notes. We'll be talking about musicians going online in the current climate. iOS 13.4 a week later, what's happening, and is it really worth upgrading at this point in time? And we'll be talking about converting audio in our tip of the week because I'm getting a lot of questions about converting files to other files. So I thought we would talk about that. Let's jump into the news and notes here. So iOS 13.4 was released nearly a week ago, March 24th, and we're here on the 30th of March today. 30th of March, the days are kind of blending together. So we're here on the 30th of March. We've had 6 days to play with it. I've done a couple of videos here on the channel where I've explored the iOS 13.4. There's a few like little things that are not quite doing it for me. So I do love the new cursors. They're very cool. Haven't fully explored the new file sharing, but it seems to work well from the few things I've tried with it. So you can share whole folders in iCloud Drive. Apart from those two things, there's not a whole lot going on there. The cursors and the keyboard usage that we have now are different, and I'm still getting familiar. And I've had reports from other folks too that things like you used to be able to use the space bar to play and to pause your GarageBand. You've got to tweak the keyboard settings now to get that working again. Some of the keyboard shortcuts and things don't seem to be working the same way they did before. So I'll be spending some time this week re-exploring those so that so I can get my head around it for my workflow, and whatever I learn about the mouse and keyboard through the week, I'll share with you folks as well. And I know folks like Jade Star here and in the chat and others are also testing things out. So we'll be sharing with the community. What else is in news? Well, we don't have any new GarageBand version. I usually get someone asking me, when's the new GarageBand update? And the answer to that is, how long is a piece of string? We don't know at this point in time. We're hoping for another update to GarageBand at some stage, both on the Mac and iOS, but there is no word at this stage. As soon as there is, you know where to come. You know that we'll be talking about it the second that there is a new update and letting you know all about it, but none at this stage. Now, online shopping. I talked about it in the Q&A show I do yesterday. I gave some tips for online shopping and successful online shopping. One of the challenges at the moment is supply shortages. So especially in the tech world, and it's not so much for music production. So we're a little bit lucky that not everyone said, hey, I'm stuck at home, I better go and buy an audio interface and a microphone. They should, because that's a cool thing to do. But what most people have said is, I want to go and buy a laptop, a monitor, a webcam, a headset. So a lot of the staples of sort of audio and video production and creation are being sort of snapped up. So if you're here in Australia, if you go to a local Officeworks store, they're kind of sold out of everything. And even if you go online to like Amazon.com or here Amazon.com.au, you'll find a lot more temporarily out of stock. They don't say out of stock, they say temporarily out of stock. Basically, please stay here and order one, but we just can't guarantee when you'll get it because we're temporarily out of stock. So that was really just more of an observation and more of something to say that if there's something you think you want for your home studio, for your GarageBand setup, for your computer in the next sort of 6 months, maybe start shopping around for it now. Don't sit back and wait and think, oh, I'll buy it when I get around to it, because yeah, the stock shortages are real, and you don't want to end up having to pay 200% because some a-hole is going to rip you off on eBay because they bought up all the frickin' webcams and now they're selling them for 100% profit. Can we pause and just agree? I'm usually not this black and white, but can we just agree that anyone who is exploiting people's fears based on the current situation is a complete a-hole? Can we just all agree on that? Yeah, cool. We'll move on from that. But yeah, seriously, people that like buying up hand sanitizer and toilet paper and then trying to sell it on eBay and Craigslist and yeah, anyway. Special place and a special place for those people. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about is musicians going online. So I've actually been kind of uplifted by a lot of what musicians are doing, and a lot of how businesses and online performers are pivoting their stuff. So they're going from, hey, we can't do live performances, we can't rehearse together. How do we actually do this? And using the online tools to be able to do that. So a heap of musicians are doing live streams, live concerts. There was like an entire festivals and things going on the weekend. Obviously, I've joined the party with that, doing my happy hour show. But yeah, it is actually good to see that, and I mentioned it yesterday, I think what we'll see out of this is that musicians, but also people in movies and TV and online and sort of presenters in more of your traditional media are getting a taste for how much they have to do. And for a musician, yeah, the professional, and again, professional is a very slippery slope because professional just means you get paid to do something. So if you've released a song on DistroKid and get paid $1 of royalties, guess what? You're a professional. But those that do this for a living, I guess, is what I'll say. I think they're getting a newfound realization of exactly how challenging it is. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them are getting into things like iMovie, things like GarageBand, things like producing and streaming on your iPhone or iPad, because that's what's available and that's the easiest way to do it. Anyway, the intro turned into the rant. I didn't mean it to do that. So that's your news and notes for this week. Nothing significant, nothing super GarageBand related, but a lot of GarageBand adjacent stuff that I wanted to talk about there. Let's jump in to the rant of the week. Now, this is normally where I just get a little bit up on my soapbox about things. And it's usually not negative, but it's usually constructive in its positioning. I'm going to completely flip 180 this time. The other day I made a mistake. I said, let's flip this 360. And someone said, Pete, if you flip 360, that's the same direction. And I went, oh, yeah, how about 180? Yeah, I didn't do well in my... What is the one with the angles in maths? Geometry, I want to say. It's definitely not... It's not geography, and it's not geology. Astrology? Who knows? But let's get into the rant of the week. And it is, thank you. So my rant is, thank you. No, my rant of the week is to a big thumbs up to the Studio Live Today community. I have been overwhelmed, and to the point where I'm about... Why did I check my watch? I'm about 4 days behind on my emails because I've got an inbox full of emails that I have to respond to today. So if you have emailed me in the last 4 days over the weekend, I am going to get to you, but it's just taking a while to sift through. But yeah, I've been overwhelmed on Instagram, Facebook, email, Twitter, everywhere in the online world from folks. And yes, I know it's because a lot of folks have more time on their hands, but the outpouring of support and gratitude has been awesome. And more than that, it hasn't just been people saying, hey, thanks for doing what you do. It's been people helping other people in the community. So on the live shows, when people have questions, I'm at the point where I haven't even got to the answer and someone else in the stream has already answered the question. And then when I'm going through my comments, because I'm about a day behind on comment replies, again, I'm going through my comments and other people in the community are coming in and sharing information. So yes, you're doing my work for me. It's cool. But yeah, I just wanted to say that is something that is appreciated. That is something that can be rare. And again, it is a reconfirmation of the community and the human spirit in times like this that people step up. Yes, some people will be D-bags and go and buy all the toilet paper, but other people will step up and help their fellow community members and find ways to actually support and work together, which I think is just bloody awesome, if I may use an Australianism. I'm skirting the edge. I'm very PG-13 today. We've got a-hole, D-bag, and bloody. That's like 3 almost swear words in the space of about 3 minutes. Let's continue on here. Let's say good day to the folks who are here live. We do have a lot of our usual suspects here. So hello to you, John Imperiali. We've got Greg Mell here, is someone who hasn't been around a lot. Ronnie Creamer, Surfing Cat, Jade Star, of course. Darren Daniliuk, SM Borthwick is here. Desolate Morning, Sion, hello. Almost missed it, but you are here. Thank you for being here. Hello to you, Ramak Dev. You've got a question here. Let's jump into this question. If you do have questions, put question in front. Make sure I catch it there. This one's how to make virtual drums sound more realistic. Yeah, this is a tough one. You could spend hours on this one. I like using the drummer, and I mentioned in a show this weekend that even if I'm programming my own drums, sometimes I'll use the virtual drummer for my fills. So just throw the virtual drummer in there because the fills that are programmed in there have all the ghost notes and all the other things that I don't tend to be able to program very well. Don't be afraid to layer up, use a drum loop and actual drums. Like you can actually get a fuller sound doing things like that. The other thing about drums is to give yourself a bit of reverb or delay. Experiment with reverbs and delays to get that drum room sound. The thing with virtual drums that makes them sound like virtual drums is sometimes they're just a bit too oop-ish, oop-ish. They don't have that. That's the technical term for it. So yeah, play around with some reverb and delay, and you'll get that fuller drum sound. That's a few little mini tips for you there. Alrighty. Another question. How do you make the acoustic guitar on GarageBand sound more realistic? We've got 2 realism questions here. This one from Parker Kennel. So yeah, the GarageBand guitar, it doesn't sound super good. What I do with it, and I mentioned this on a recent video. So with the acoustic guitar, I always roll off the top end. It's always too clangy and twangy. So I'll always take either the Visual EQ or LRC5. There's a free tip for you. Go to your app store and search LRC5. And download the free 5-band EQ from Neon Silicon. And then you can actually go in there and just change some of that. Because I tend to find what I usually need to do is boost somewhere around the mid-range, give the bass a little bit of a tweak up, but take down the top end because the natural guitar sound on the acoustic sounds really twangy. I then tend to hide it with a bit of delay and reverb. I know it's my trick for everything. Excuse me. Add some delay and reverb to that. And then the other thing you can do is, and it's not so much for acoustic, but electric definitely, you can then merge down that track and then put it over onto an amp simulator track. And even for acoustic, if you just put it through an amp and just use a little bit of presence and reverb from the amp, it can just, even though it's acoustic, it can just give it a little bit more of that sheen that's going to make it a wee bit more realistic. So there you go. That is my view on that one. And Alex Backer said, I often use different drum kits in parallel to double the sounds. Yeah, that is a really good way. And again, it's so weird because you're thinking, I want to make it more realistic. And now, Pete and Alex, you're saying add in like drum loops and multiple drums. But yet, here's the thing. No one listens to any one instrument soloed by itself. When you've got your mix going out there, no one's going to go, oh no, this sounded like a great rock mix, but clearly over the top or underneath the drums, they've put a drum loop which with the kick and snare to enhance it. No, nobody cares. Does it sound cool? Does it rock? Does it groove? Does it do whatever it's doing? Yes, cool, you're done. So yeah, I definitely reinforce that tip. Don't be afraid to experiment. Use a couple of different drum kits. Use the beat sequencer as well as the drums. Use a drum loop. Use whatever's going to help you get done. So yes, so let's move on because that was the rant. I know it was a bit all over the shop. Oh, by the way, my T-shirt today. This is interesting. This is Save Our Home Studios. This is Lidge Shaw from Recording Studio Rockstars. Shout out to you, Lidge. Lidge is a producer, a recording engineer out of Nashville, and he is trying to record in his home studio. But you know what they did in Nashville? Like before all of this caper, they put in a law in Nashville, in Music City. They put in a law or an ordinance or something that said people can't run studios in their home. Yeah, the biggest one of the biggest music creation cities in the world said you can't have a home studio. So Lidge is currently still, I think, I'm trying to keep up with the latest, but yeah, there's been an ongoing court case where he's basically saying we need to be able to record in home studios. This is kind of ridiculous, and yeah, that's his plight at the moment. So yes, if you want to support Lidge, just search Recording Studio Rockstars. It's a very cool website and podcast. I've been on it before. Maybe I'll try and find the episode. Jade Star, if you can find my episode. It's sad. Like Jade's voluntarily offering to moderate this show, and then about once a show, I'll be like, "Hey Jade, can you find the thing at the place?" But yeah, do support Lidge. Search Lidge Shaw, Lijshaw, because he's a cool dude. And yeah, seriously, like especially now. The funny thing is, all of the pro studios in Nashville, I'm assuming, like everything else, are probably closed. And what are those people doing? Well, they're probably sitting at home in their home studios doing work. Anyway, the ironies of life. Let's get into our tip of the week, shall we? So, my tip of the week this week is about converting audio. So, audio that you've recorded, audio that you're bringing in, audio from videos. I get questions probably 3, 4, 5 times a week about how do I convert this audio file to that audio file. First thing I want to say is, unless you need to convert something from its original format, don't. You don't need to, but let's assume you do. Like a lot of people search my video how to convert to MP3 because they've just got in their head that things need to be MP3s to do things. These days, WAV file, an AIF file is much better. It's going to be full resolution, non-compressed. M4A files using Apple's codec, they're totally fine. If you're in the iOS world, leave it as M4A. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be MP3. The only time you might need MP3 is if you're, say, uploading to a site that definitely needs MP3. Sometimes if you're if you're entering like a competition or something, it might say this must be a 320 kilobit per second MP3 file. In which case, sure, you have to convert it. But yeah, the question I get asked most is, how do you convert this file to that file? And there's 2 tools that I use. One is free and one costs a bit. The first tool is called Voice Record Pro, and I have done a demo video of this one of how to actually convert to an MP3 using Voice Record Pro. But it's better than that. You can actually, with Voice Record Pro, you can set it up to convert to pretty much any audio file type. So you can convert to MP3, M4A, WAV. You can set the bit rate and the bit depth, which is really important. So if you have, say, a 32-bit file that you bring in and you need it to be a 24-bit file, so you can use it in GarageBand, you can actually bring it in and convert it. So you can even convert a WAV file to a more different WAV file and get the job done there. My preferred app, and the app I use for virtually everything, it's my Swiss Army knife of iOS apps, and it's called AudioShare. And those that use AudioShare already know what I'm talking about. I'm preaching to the converter there. But if you are using audio, if you're creating audio or video, or basically if you're doing anything on your iPhone or iPad, then grab AudioShare. I think it's $3.99. It's ridiculously cheap. What is it? Well, it's a high-quality audio recorder. It enables you to copy and paste and transfer files, hence the name AudioShare, between your different apps. It has a Wi-Fi drive function, so you can transfer between different devices, your Mac, your PC, your iPhone, your iPad, your Android devices. It does everything. And then on top of that, it's a very cool file converter. It can normalize, it can trim, it can fade, it can make things from WAV to M4A. You can change bit rate, bit depth, everything. Change it from stereo to mono. That can be super important. And you'll know when you know. When you've got a stereo track and you really need it to be mono, so you can shove it all the way to the left in GarageBand, yes, you can use AudioShare to convert. So there's my 2 tips there. Voice Record Pro, AudioShare. One's free, one costs you a few bucks. Get those on your iPad or iPhone, and you will never have another problem with converting audio again. Let's talk about the plugin of the week. Now, I'm stealing with pride from my buddy Patrick over at the GarageBand Guide. That rhymed, and you know that rhymed. I'm a poet, didn't even know it. The Nembrini analog rack delay is like one of the coolest delays I've come across. I've reviewed it, but so has Patrick. I've put his review down in the description because caring is sharing, and he's done a more recent updated review, which is a nice 5-minute video that shows you all about the Nembrini analog rack delay plugin. It's his free app of the week, so I'm making it mine as well. So go down and check out Patrick's video down in the description. And yeah, make sure you head over to the App Store because pretty much all of the Nembrini Analog Rack apps are free at the moment. I did a little video where I mentioned a few of them, and I'll be reviewing them through the week. And a lot of folks have said, Pete, you've only given like the details. You haven't actually demoed all of these different apps, all the other Nembrini plugins. Well, I'll be doing that this week. So keep an eye on. Subscribe, like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry. No, I don't do that enough, apparently. If I had a producer, they would just be like, do the promo. You haven't said like, comment, subscribe. And I'm like, nah, people know what to do. It's not people's first rodeo when it comes to this stuff. But anyway, where are we up to? We're nearly at the end. Jade says, also highly recommend Audic. Can convert any file type and can rip audio from video. Been using it for months and love it. There you go. There's another one. And I do get asked questions about ripping audio from video. A lot of those apps I mentioned before can do the same thing. If it's from YouTube, there's websites where you can go to where you can put in the YouTube website. It will download the audio or the video. Please, please tread with caution with that because you don't want to be taking other people's hard work and then reusing it. A, you'll probably get picked up for a copyright claim somewhere. And B, it's just not a cool thing to do. But if you have permission and if you're using it for creative purposes, whatever it is, then yes, use some of those tools to get the job done. Let's see if we have any questions here before we sign off, because it's not far to go here. There you go, Voice Record Pro. There is the link to that. Jade has stepped up, as always, and she has found the YouTube channel there. I'm assuming that's Lidge's channel. Jump over to Recording Studio Rockstar. Sion has a tip of the day. Loving this. You can record a keyboard GarageBand instrument and drag that MIDI into an AUV3 instrument and it will work. Yeah, that's a really good and sort of underutilized thing, is that AUV3 instruments they use the same MIDI data, the same note information as the standard keyboards in GarageBand. So you can actually copy between them. You can't do it between audio, Interapp audio and audio recorder tracks, but when you've got two virtual tracks, so the green, you basically keep it color coded, and it doesn't always work because strings are their own weird thing. So this doesn't apply for strings, but for all of your standard keyboard instruments, including things like guitars and bass, because they are basically just a keyboard instrument, you can play them through the keyboard. Then yes, you can enter your instrument info and then drag it across, which is very cool. Yes, that is Lidge's YouTube that Jade has found there. So go over to Recording Studio Rockstars. Check it out. A question here from Ronak Dev. Is there a way to adjust the stereo field other than using the pan feature from the track settings? There's a couple of ways for the stereo field. There's a excuse me. There's a cool plugin, a free plugin called Stereo Lag, which is actually kind of cool. What that does is it splits out the audio and you can sort of make a little delay. It's like the old delay trick that we used to use where you'd create a second track, you'd then shift one like a few milliseconds after the other and then push them left and right. It does all of that, but automatically. So that can actually be really good for creating more of a stereo spectrum. Yes, your panning, as you said, you can go left and right with your panning. And then there's stereo widener plugins. So there's a stereo widener. I can't remember who makes it. I reviewed it. If you search Pete John's stereo widener, you'll find the widener plugin. It used to be free. I think now it costs maybe $4 or $5. So check that one out. And the other thing is, yeah, when you're mastering, you can also adjust the stereo spectrum. So something like Final Touch has a stereo imager, so you can actually stretch out and give your mix more space in the mastering process. So there you go. Here we go. But yeah, try the free wider plugin by Infected Mushroom. There you go. Sion coming to the party again. Alrighty. Let's have a look. I'll see. I don't think we have any other. No, we're out of questions, and I don't think I have any other. Yeah, I think we're good. So, what was my resource of the week? Well, it's this. If you are in the market, see, this is where I'm doing the promo. See, I listened to my promotions department, which is also me. If you are in the market for an iPad or an iPhone, or you just want to see where your iPhone or iPad ranks against everything that's available, I've got two places you can check out. You can go to my iPad buyer's guide, which is at studiolivetoday.com/iPad, and my iPhone buyer's guide, which is, not surprisingly, at studiolivetoday.com/iPhone. What you'll find over there is my complete buyer's guide. So there's a chart, a PDF chart there that has every different iPhone and every different iPad and exactly what the specs are. So we're talking about the memory, the processor, a whole bunch of things that aren't super obvious. Even when you go to the Apple comparison chart, it won't show you things like RAM because for whatever reason, Apple don't think advertising how much RAM devices have is important. But things that we know is that thing like the new iPad Pro, the big benefit of it is that all the models, not just the 1 terabyte like in the 2018, all the new models of the iPad Pro have 6 gig of RAM, which means if you're doing a whole bunch of sort of high-end video and audio processing, that's going to be better for you. But it's not just for buying new stuff. If you are in the market to upgrade or update, I had a question from someone, I can't remember who now. They were looking to update, so they had an iPhone 6 or 7 and they wanted to update, and I was able to point them to that guide and say, look, at the moment, you're probably your best bang for buck value versus price iPhone is the iPhone XR or 10R, whatever you want to call it, because it's got a lot of the processing power and a lot of the screen resolution and the camera and all that sort of stuff of the iPhone 10. But it's a little bit more than the iPhone 8, but you probably get the best bang for your buck there. If you're not going to go out and get an iPhone 11, the 10R is kind of right in that nice sweet spot of quality. And it's the same with the iPad, like the iPad Air 3, which is not called the Air 3 because Apple don't number things properly, but the newest iPad Air is actually sort of an underrated powerhouse in terms of its performance, in terms of its specs. It's actually pretty good. So if you're like, I can't afford a Pro, but I don't want to sort of skimp on the quality, check out the iPad guide. Check out an iPad Air 3rd gen. They are, like I say, kind of overpowered. The iPad Air 2 that I use is kind of on its last legs, and the iPad Pro 1st gen I'm using here. I'm kind of using two iPads that are right at the lower end of what we can use now, if you want to use a lot of the modern apps and plugins and things. But that's okay, and I think that's actually good. I didn't order a new iPad. I think it's good that I have these because I can help a wider range of people. Because people that have the newest iPads, well, they're not going to have optimizing performance problems, and they're not going to have storage space problems. So it's kind of nice that I get to experience some of the challenges that the vast majority of people who are still rocking older iPads are having as well. That's my point anyway. Plus, it's not the greatest time to be buying a $3,000 piece of glass right now. Yes. Alrighty. I think we are good to go. So if you do have any other questions, and I did miss anything, which I probably did, please come back to the replay of this. Drop it down in the comments. I will circle back and catch up on anything that I may have missed there. If you got some value out of this show today, hit the like button, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel, and also head over to studiolivetoday.com. Right there on the front page, you'll find my gear guide. You can join the mailing list, and you can find out how to support me on Patreon, by PayPal, buy some merch, listen to my music, do all of the things. But most importantly, as I say every week, continue creating, recording, and releasing your best music. Thanks for being here today, folks. I'll see you next time. And we are done. We're overtime today. All my shows have been running late this week. That's okay. I'm getting a little ranty, I think. Thank you to everyone here. Thank you, Superxen. Yes, more info is at studiolivetoday.com. Appreciate you. Thank you to Jean Imperiali. Stay safe, everyone. Agree. Alex Bacchus. Thank you to you. Dan Marino, didn't see you sneak in there. Yes. I'm glad you answered my question, Sion. Pete missed it. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what I talked about in my rant today. When I miss stuff, other people are there to be the wicket keeper and catch the things and still answer the questions. So yes, thank you. Thank you all, community, for that. Thank you for everybody else. I don't think I missed anyone. If I did, it's not personal. Thank you, Benedict. Thank you, Metallion. It's definitely not personal. It is just that, it's a nice problem to have, but there's too many chats and too many people to keep up with across YouTube and Facebook for me to actually catch sometimes. So I apologize for that. And you can catch my music on Spotify, Apple, Google, etc. via the Song Whip link, or just Google me. Um, that's the cool thing. If you're a musician, it's weird. There's got to be like some weird search engine optimization hack here to just become a musician. Like, I wonder if you're a company and you wanted to make sure that you get on search engines, just start releasing music, because until I started actually releasing tunes, if you search Pete Johns, you were not going to find me, regardless of what I did. I could have been a professional, like, graphic designer and wanting to try and get people to know me, and they probably wouldn't be able to find me. It wasn't until I started releasing music and then Google went, because we can put this on Google Play, because we can put this on YouTube, suddenly you search Pete Johns and it comes up with Pete Johns artist. And then it sucked all of my YouTube stuff up to that as well. So it's kind of cool, especially when you have a name that's super easy, super easy to say and spell. Pete Johns. I know. Yes, people with longer, more complicated names probably should change their name to, like, I'm John Smith. Well, no, John Smith might be a little bit too common. Anyway, can you tell that we're ranting and we're getting way off track? Yeah, I think so. This concludes our weekend of live streaming here on Studio Live today. But if you missed it, in case you missed it, we had a whole bunch of streaming over the weekend. We had the home studio Q&A show. We had the happy hour show yesterday. We had GarageBand Weekly today. I did something on Saturday. It's been so long ago, I've kind of forgotten what it is. Oh yeah, GarageBand Help Desk. If you didn't catch that one, 2 hours of GarageBand Q&A content. Did that one back on Saturday. Check the previous videos here on the channel if you missed that one. And of course, if you've got GarageBand questions, pete@studiolivetoday.com. Go to studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand for my GarageBand FAQ. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being awesome, folks. We do have more videos coming through the week, as well as some interviews that are in the works. So watch this space. More on that coming real soon. Stay safe, stay happy, help each other out, and I'll see you soon. Bye.